Hello and welcome to NJBIZ Conversations. I'm your host, Jeff Kanige. My guest today is Chris Butler. He's the CEO of National Tree Company in Cranford. Chris, welcome back.
Hey Jeff, how are you? Thanks for
Good.
having me.
Thanks for taking the time to do this. National Tree, to remind our viewers who may not be familiar with the last time we talked, which was a couple of years ago, is the largest importer and wholesaler of Christmas trees and other holiday decorations. So this is really your time of year, yes?
It is, yes, we are absolutely hitting our peak right now. Thanksgiving weekend is the absolute pinnacle, and so the closer you get to Thanksgiving, the bigger the sales become. And so next week will be a huge week. The week after will be a huge week. Week after will be a very big week. Then we have a little lull. Christmas, the day after Christmas is massive.
Mhm.
And then the day after New Year's or New Year's Day is massive as well. And then that's kind
Really?
of
Okay.
it. The week
All right.
into.
And I mean, most people do celebrate with a Christmas tree, and that's really the core of your business. I'm looking behind you. You have a beautiful backdrop of trees. That's really where your bread and butter. Yes.
That's correct. Yes. And again, as you said, about 80% of US households celebrate Christmas with a tree, and about 80% of those households celebrate with an artificial tree. So it's a very large market.
Okay. Now, I wanted to catch up with a little bit of how the business is going because the last time we spoke, you were kind of still dealing with the aftermath of the pandemic. There were a lot of supply chain disruptions. It was a very challenging time for you at that point. I'm curious how that's worked itself out, or has it worked itself out? Are you back to some sort of standard footing, as it were? Something that looked like what it was before the pandemic.
Yeah, for sure. So we're definitely through the trough of supply chain kind of
Okay.
disruption and massive prices for shipping and everything. So we're definitely through that, and we've managed to clear out a lot of kind of high priced inventory. I think the category in general is still in a bit of a lull,
Okay.
given two things. Number one, COVID brought forward a lot of demand. And so if you were in COVID and you had a lot of money and you'd spend your money on things rather than experiences. So that's definitely softened demand. And the other thing as well, look, we're a discretionary item, and so consumers typically change trees every 5 to 6 years. But if you're paying double for eggs or triple for butter or 10 times for fruit, that's where your money's going to go. And so we know after talking to consumers that, budgetary issues are the number one thing on their mind. And so I would say the category is in a bit of a lull, but definitely we're through the COVID shipping nightmares.
Okay. And back then also you were concerned about geopolitical risks, particularly with regard to China.
Yeah.
And you were sort of rethinking how you were, or at least you were beginning to rethink how you would handle that. Did you make any changes? What did you do to sort of get out of that that sort of trap, as it were?
Yeah, so it's a great question. So we've have definitely diversified our supply chain. We're still in China quite heavily.
Okay.
We're actually accelerating that diversification. The whole thing of diversification is to be in many different places, right? You don't want to be in one country or another. It
Right.
just doesn't make sense. And so we've diversified, but we're now, what I would say is we're diversifying out of China. And so even though the base of this business, the base of this industry is in southern China, we're working with our factory partners to set up shop in other countries in light of the new administration. Again, we were already on track for that, but we've just accelerated
Okay.
that given the potential tariffs.
Okay. You did mention that folks that you're a discretionary purchase. Folks change their trees every
Yeah,
5 or 6 years. I think you said.
that's right.
Okay. So, given that, what are you looking forward to through this year? Obviously, inflation's come down a bit. There may be still be some uncertainty on the part of consumers' attitudes.
Yeah.
What are you expecting? How's the holiday season shaping up for you at this point?
Yeah, it's tough to tell right now, to be honest with you,
Okay.
because this year Thanksgiving is a week later. And so when you're in a business that is predicated on the sales are predicated on the proximity to Thanksgiving. So the
Mhm.
closer you get to Thanksgiving, the higher the sales. Because Thanksgiving is a week later, year-over-year comps are almost meaningless. And so
Okay.
we're looking at it on a kind of a week delayed basis, and we're kind of in the game. So it's a little softer than we wanted, but it's certainly not anywhere kind of the precipitous declines we've seen over the last few years. So I feel like we're kind of bottoming out a little bit. But look, again, even though inflation is kind of under control, you still have that built-in inflation that's happened, and so consumers are definitely watching their wallets. I think that we're going to see a massive Black Friday weekend next weekend, given that people are just waiting. People know there are deals to be had, and
Mhm.
then waiting for the weekend to kind of whip out the credit cards and checkbooks.
Okay, well, that's what I was curious about, was whether you. Yes, I understand the Thanksgiving being a week later. That's kind of thrown everybody off a little bit, I
Yeah.
think, and whether you're expecting that to pick up. It seems like there's a lot of pent up demand that folks are just sort of kind of waiting
Yeah.
for to get back out there. Is that the dynamic that
That's what we believe in. Yeah. We believe that there's a lot of pent up demand. To your point, our customers are saying that, consumers are saying that. So, I wish they would just not be so pent up and just kind of order in a
right?
regular manner, but we'll deal with it when it comes. We have fantastic operational crew, and we're able to get 60, 70, 80,000 packages out per day. So we'll be able to do that. And I'm sure that's what will happen not this weekend, but next weekend. So yeah, we're
Okay.
ready for the demand.
And what kind of let's say are folks as interested in decorating their houses, decorating their properties as they used to be? What happened during? I mean, I remember talking to you during the pandemic, and there was a thought that people were staying home. They wanted to sort of surround themselves with nice things. Has again, did that sort of create a problem for you, in that lots of folks bought that tree, made that purchase, bought all those things back then, and now maybe are pulling back a little bit and waiting for another 5 or 6 years before they get another tree? How,
Yeah, no,
how
that's right.
what is the consumer like at this point?
Yeah, COVID absolutely brought forward demand, right? And so
Mhm.
that's why the category went into a little bit of softness. And we've seen that across the board with outdoor furniture, indoor furniture, home decor. The
Okay.
entire industry has been soft because of that bring forward of demand. Of course, people aren't moving homes right now, so that's another thing, that when you stay in your home, you're not gonna, when you move home, you might just get a new tree. So we're seeing that as well. But the fact of the matter is, you know, decorating for Christmas and having a tree or a wreath on the front door or a garland or ornaments on your tree or any other kind of decoration is never going to go out of style.
Right.
It's something that is intrinsic in our culture, and it's something that can bring everybody together. We say, yes, we sell trees and garlands and wreaths, et cetera, but without sounding corny, what we really sell is joy. For six
Mhm.
weeks of the year, our products are the centerpiece of the family home. And so I don't know anyone who looks at a Christmas tree and doesn't get happy.
Right.
So people gather around our products, people have fun conversations, obviously present giving, gift giving, lots of different things. And so we truly believe that this is a fantastic category. It's not going to get out of style. And
Mhm.
so once that kind of COVID bring forward starts to die down in the next year or so, we'll absolutely see the category pick back up again and get into a normalized cycle.
Okay. Yeah. I think people do think of the holidays in that way, as a time when they can be happy and want to surround themselves with nice things.
Yeah.
One of the other things we talked about was the move to away from natural trees to artificial trees. Have you seen that continue? Has it accelerated? It seemed to me back then when we spoke that environmental concerns, global climate change, things like that might have moved people away from going out and chopping down a tree and bringing it into their house and then just tossing it out when they're done. Is that how is that dynamic working for you at this point?
Yeah, look, what I would say is we're a fan of all trees. If you want to celebrate with an artificial tree, fantastic. If you want to celebrate with a real tree, that's great as well. I don't see there's competition between us. The consumer will choose kind of which way they want to go depending on
Mhm.
their lifestyle. Obviously, you have the benefit of an artificial tree. It lasts many years. It's pre-lit. There's no pine needles, but of course, you can't replicate going out and chopping down your own tree with your
Right.
child, right? So there's many different advantages to both. So we think that percentage will probably grow a little bit more towards, the artificial business, just purely because people are time strapped. And, with the climate change, it's actually hurting some of the growers out there. But we don't wish for that. But, we think that trend will stay pretty stable.
Okay. And so, have there been any other changes since over the last couple of years that you've noticed? Is there anything that you would have to do differently now than what you were doing before?
Yeah, I think there's been just a shift towards lower cost trees.
Okay.
And I think that's a couple of things. One is the proliferation of factories in China not having the same demand as they used to have. And so now they're finding other routes to market. So they're just selling these much cheaper trees into the marketplace. And I think as a consumer, when again you're on a budget limit, when you're budget is limited, and you have a choice between you know, an incredible $300 Dunhill from National Tree or a, you know, $100 tree from, you know, Yahitech or something, you're probably going to gravitate towards that if you're budget constrained. Now, of course, most consumers know you're not getting the same quality, and you're probably going to have to replace that tree much more often, or it's just not going to be the same look and feel. But that's the trade-off people are willing to make right now. So, you know, as a company, we're absolutely bringing on new items which are of a much lower cost, a more budget-friendly item.
Okay. Okay.
And we think that those items are very high quality and great value for money, but definitely we're seeing that change in the marketplace.
Okay. All right. So, given everything that we've talked about, I wonder if you've been able to look a little bit beyond this current holiday season into next year. Obviously, there's a lot of political changes going on. There may be some more geopolitical risks
Sure.
that pop up. Supply chains again may become stressed at a certain point. Are you concerned about that? What are you planning for? What do you anticipate over the next, say, 12 months?
Yeah, look, every day is a concern, right? The world is changing at the fastest rate ever. You know, I often say, like, the world will never change as slow as it is in the future, and it's changing faster than it ever has in the past. So that's just life in business right now. And so, you know, I think for us, the key is diversification. It's a key word for us: diversification of our supply chain,
Okay.
and then diversification of our customer base. So, you know, selling into multiple channels is critical for us in the future as well, because the consumer is going to make their choice, but they want choice. They either want to go into a store and buy your product, or they want to go online, or they want to go onto your own website or onto Amazon or Wayfair. Like, they're going to make those choices, and we need to make sure that we're everywhere. You know, we can't have all of our eggs in one basket, either from a sales perspective or from a supply perspective. And so the more you can responsibly diversify without adding incremental costs to your business, I think the better placed you'll be. You can't predict what's going to happen. You can't predict, you know, what happened in Israel, right? You can't predict what happened in the Ukraine. You can't predict what China might do next year. Like, you can't predict that. You can have a good idea, but at the end of the day, I think it's foolish to act for specific things that might or might not happen. I think you just have to build a responsibly diverse business base that is capable of dealing with most things that come along.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, anybody who is hoping that there's never going to be uncertainty is going to be sorely disappointed. So.
Correct. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It's this seat it's such an interesting place to be, because you deal with so many different things. There's such a variety of things, and that's what keeps you getting out of bed every day. And so
Right.
again, you know, our job is to make sure that we're putting our company in the healthiest position possible.
Okay. And finally, before I let you go, I have to ask: you're in New Jersey. What's it like doing business in New Jersey? You're happy here. A lot of folks, I'm guessing, a lot of my viewers, our viewers, probably don't know that the largest distributor, wholesaler, or importer of Christmas trees is based in Cranford.
Yeah.
What's it like doing business in New Jersey these days for you?
It's great. I mean, we've been in Cranford for, you know, 50 plus years.
Mm.
We used to make our trees in Cranford in the warehouse. Obviously, you know, we had to shift our production offshore, but, you know, we have our showroom in Cranford. We have all of our employees are based in Cranford. We have a warehouse just down the street in Cranford. Then we have another warehouse in East Windsor. So, you know, we love New Jersey. We love doing business here. The town of Cranford has always been great to us, and you know, we have a fantastic relationship with the local community. So, you know, what we're doing now is we're opening up our showroom and selling trees directly to the consumer, whether it be sample trees or other trees. And so that's really helped kind of reignite the relationship with the local community as well. So, and we always, you know, we get requests from hospitals and things like that, local hospitals, local kids shelters, homeless shelters, things. And so we always kind of try and do our best to donate where we can to kind of help the local community.
Okay, very good. We will leave it there. Chris Butler, CEO of National Tree Company in Cranford, thank you very much for joining me, and I hope that you have a good holiday season.
Thank you so much, Jeff. I really appreciate it.
Thanks again, and thank you for watching. Until next time, stay safe, everyone.